Action.
Good morning, Around the Diamond family. Welcome for another episode of Around the Diamond with Baseball Bill and Grand Slam Sam. We are here talking all things baseball, and let me tell you, I got the countdown right here. We are 23 days away from spring training and baseball officially being back. No more talking about free agents. No more talking about who'da, whata, who'da, coulda. No more of that. It will be finally time to get down to the nitty gritty of it. Bill, how are you this morning, good sir?
Listen, I'm amazing. Pitchers and catchers report soon. Life is good. We're gonna start the run for the 2023 World Champion Los Angeles Dodgers. It's gonna be awesome. And I don't know if I told you this though, Sam, but it's a guarantee that the Angels are going to play in October this year. I'm making a strong guarantee right now that they play in October.
You know what? We've had this conversation, and I think that by some chance the Angels will at least play one game in October. I will agree with you on that.
They are definitely going to be in October, playing at least one game in October. It's going to be awesome.
No question. I
question.
Completely concur with you. And in regards to the Dodgers making it to the World Series, if their track record is anything to count on, we can at least ensure that they will make it to the post and probably lose there. Anyway, moving on.
We are the world champions of the regular season, everybody. Come on.
Yes, you
give us
can
that.
hold that
Come
title
on.
to the bank. Take that title to the bank, just like Tom Brady did it when he won 18. I'll give you that. You are hands down the best regular season team. And
okay,
hold on to that
title, say something?
We'll sit there for a minute.
Can I just say something here on this? Regarding Sam and I's prediction that the Angels will play in October, just go look at the schedule.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Just go look at the schedule.
Yes. Their schedule guarantees that they will play.
At least one game in October.
At least one. Well, we can joke around about how the Angels will, the Dodgers, will consistently be the best regular season team and not the best postseason team. But as we move forward, let's look into some big free agent signings that happened in the last week. Because again, I mentioned it last week, we're starting to get down to these outliers that are now starting to come to fruition. The teams are going to really start looking into to fill back-end positions, to fill their minor league squads, to give them invites to spring training and to see if they're still got some fresh legs. I think the big would probably have to go to Johnny Cueto. If I had to put a guess out there, my prediction is Johnny Cueto probably had the best signing this past week. 1 year, $8.5 million. The Marlins also, I think, feel they got the greatest thing since sliced bread by signing Johnny Cueto to a 1 year contract. Because if you saw the intro that they gave him, it's like they found the king of baseball.
Well, they now have a Johnny Cueto Day in Miami because of this. So, you got in January.
That makes a total sense.
Yeah, we're working on making it a national holiday. So, Johnny Cueto Day signing with the Marlins. Yeah, I agree with you. One of the things that drives me nuts about baseball, there's so much money. So, Sam, if you and I go out and we're going to go hang out at a restaurant, grab, some steaks or watch a game or whatever, right? We drop 20, 30 bucks, 40 bucks, 50 bucks. It's not a big deal, right? These teams are dropping so much cash, and it drives me insane. That first one that you have on that list right there, where the Mariners are only paying Tommy $720K, but the Giants have to eat 11.5, just like the Dodgers are eating Trevor Bauer's 22 million. It's just like at some point you're just playing this weird monopoly game where it just doesn't even matter to some of these guys. So it drives me nuts, but what can I say?
No, and I agree with you. It's baseball is the only sport that does this. And for top fans and baseball fans alike that don't realize this, baseball is the only sport where if you sign a contract, it's a fully guaranteed. You're released. You are still guaranteed your money.
Yeah.
Which is why, as Bill said, the Dodgers have to eat $22 million. In the case of Tommy La Stella, the Giants have to eat $11.5 million. Whereas if you look at baseball or football, hockey, or basketball, you're only guaranteed X number of dollars out of your entire contract. And that guaranteed money is staggered out through the life of. So you could have the first 3 years of your contract guaranteed and then have half of the next remaining years guaranteed if it's a 5-year contract. So 3 years is guaranteed, and in the last two, half of those contracts are guaranteed, where the other half is returnable money to the team. Whereas in baseball, there is none of that. So I agree with you. You got these guys that now you start to look at it and say, when does it just become about playing the game?
Yep.
And when does it become about, and you know, you see certain guys on here and you're like, okay, it's average market value. It makes sense for him. Like I would say, you know, Adam Duvall, a 1-year, $7 million contract that fits Adam Duvall and, you know, his pedigree, his play, his fielding. But you look at a guy like Tommy La Stella, and I think you and I can both agree he is not worth $11.5 million.
Depends on who you ask. If you ask his mom, he is. But besides for that, outside of that,
if you ask baseball fans alike, he's not worth $11.5 million, which is why the Mariners got to steal.
Yeah,
the Mariners got to steal. They're like, we only have to pay you $720,000 because the Giants are paying your contract. Fine, great for us. We'll take you for a year and then we'll ship you off somewhere else. We don't care. Or midway through the season, they can use him as trade bait if he's playing well. Yeah, I mean, it works out for them.
Yep. Amen.
Another Mancini for 2 years for $14 million. The Trey Mancini may be worth $5 million, $6 million a year at this point in his career. Now, if you had seen previous shows, he was projected market value of $18 million, which Bill and I laughed at consistently during, before, and after shows. So when this came up, we've said, oh, look, he got close to that 18 million if you continue to add for. But he's not worth $7 million a year. He's maybe worth $5 million at this point. So you got to look at these players and say, did you do this for money, or did you do this because you feel like you got what you're worth? I don't think some of these guys are getting what they're worth, and I think some of them are getting overpaid.
Yeah, you know, in a case like Trey Mancini, first of all, he's got a fantastic story, cancer survivor, things like that. The Cubs went all in on guys like Dansby Swanson. They got Eric Hosmer. They picked up some offense to try to make themselves competitive in a division that is not going to be relatively competitive this year on paper, right? I could be wrong. We could have 3 teams that win 100 games in that division. I could be wrong. But what you signed Trey Mancini for is the veteran leadership, A. B, what he can do on the field when he plays as a DH or whatever, and C, what he does in the clubhouse with the younger kids that are coming up, right? And that's what you're going to, I mean, Trey Mancini is going to be able to walk on the bus with some rookie and just say, hey, listen, I know that you're struggling, you know, today. I know that the wife got on you about whatever, but, you know, put it away because we're going to the stadium, you know, and go 3 for 3 today or whatever, right? Trey Mancini is also that guy that during the dog days of summer, when everybody's just tired and worn out and it's hot and it's miserable and it's sticky and it's humid out in Chicago, he's the guy that can step up and say, hey, boys, this is what we get paid for. You know, let's have some fun with this, right?
Yeah. Now, let's just take the Cubs into consideration. I did do a little bit of additional digging. Trey Mancini's 2-year contract does include a 2023 opt-out. So after this year, he can technically opt out. So this was now looking at it as more of a, you know, prove it and grow yourself deal. And
Right.
you're right. He does have a great story, cancer survivor, but you can't always get personal in baseball. You
No,
can't. If you
but
get personal in baseball, you're going to be literally. Brandon, if you get personal in baseball, Bill, exactly what you said before we even started the show would be the facts. That the Giants would sign Brandon Crawford to a 10-year, $500 million contract. But
there
guess
you
what?
go.
That's not the way it works. Or they would have re-signed Brandon Belt and said, we don't care about getting younger. Brandon Belt's a heartfelt story because he grew up as a Giant fan in the farm system. And then if every team was worried about that, we'd be back in like the Willie Mays days where teams perform throughout your entire career rather than seeing guys move from one team to another.
So
Um,
so
yeah,
what is interesting to me on this signing area is, and I appreciate what we've talked about. What's interesting to me is it's interesting to me how these players are going for what I'm going to call regular deals, regular price deals. A 1 year, $3.75 million contract for Chapman, a $3 million contract for Pilar. Those are what I would consider normal deals. These $37 million per season, or these opt out, or I'm gonna start calling the 1 year opt out the Carlos Correa. Okay, we're just gonna start calling it the Carlos Correa. That way everybody knows what it is. So Trey Mancini's got a Carlos Correa on his contract, right? But these are normal prices. I mean, I'm looking at Tommy's thing, and knowing what I know and knowing, my background, I tell the wife, listen, we're gonna get 60,000 a year, or 60,000 a month from the Mariners. We're gonna get almost $1 million a month from the Giants. Let's live on the $1 million a month and let's bank the 60,000. Let's just put it away in someplace or whatever. And so, but these are normal sized
or
contracts.
flip flopping. Or Tommy Lasello could realistically flip flop it. He's like,
True.
well, maybe I travel for 7 months I'm going to travel for 7 of the next 12 months. So live off of 60K, bank the million every month,
Yep.
the just shy of $1 million or whatever it is. And then at the end of the season, when no one wants to pick me up because I'm playing as good as I played with the other 9 teams I played with prior, I'll just leave the game and we'll be set for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. My my
Um,
fa- my favorite one on here is Tommy, come play my fantasy league, fam.
well,
Like,
again, looking at that, Tommy Pham is not worth $6 million. It's not.
well, it depends. If he gets you fantasy league, if he can punch somebody in the face for fantasy league, I mean, it's
Yeah, I
entertaining.
mean, I think the best signings on this, I think Cueto got what his value was worth. I think Chapman took a deal that he realistically had to take. I don't think there was another team that was going to offer him more money. Um, and I like the Duvall signing. I really do like the Duvall signing because it does give the Red Sox additional depth in that outfield. And Duvall is still a power hitter. You know, he'll be good in Boston.
So here's the
It's
ones
a
that I
smaller
like.
stadium. He'll be fine there.
Yeah, the ones that I like. I like Duvall. I like Mancini on this, and Johnny Cueto. Yeah, all right, okay. Um, but notice, and I don't want to have a long conversation about this because I just don't. For those of you that are in the Top Fan Rivalry locker room, you saw an article this week written by a top fan about this. Notice who's not on this list, Sammy. Who's not on this list?
Trevor Bauer.
Yep.
He's not going to be signed.
No.
I'll put it right here. I will say it right here. Trevor Bauer will not play. I don't believe Trevor Bauer will play a day of baseball in 2023.
I think he'll play. I just don't think he'll play in the MLB.
Unless with some baseball kids for college.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play in the MLB. I think he'll play in Korea or Japan or someplace like that.
Yeah, he won't play a game of MLB ball in the States. He will be going either overseas or he's just gonna stay at home and practice and live off the $22 million the Dodgers got to pay.
Dodgers are paying him. Hey, if you
Yeah.
guys want that contract, we'll give it to you.
No, no,
All right.
no.
So what do we got next? We talked about the people that are on the move. What do we got
Real quick,
next?
we also have to just take a moment to thank Travis Shaw retiring from baseball and all of his contribution. Travis Shaw, thank you for what you've done. Not
Ye-
much, but thank you.
Yeah, exactly. That was a huge one, a huge loss for the MLB.
Yes, huge. Um, Still available free agents. We're gonna keep this really brief. Still got a number of good names on this list. You know, Greinke still out there. Gary Sanchez, Dave Peralta, Gurriel, and yes, top fans and around the diamond fans, that is his first name. Bill and I had to take a second and double check it, but that is his legal first name, and neither of us know how to say it. So we're just gonna go by Gurriel at this point. Michael Waka, Josh Harrison. Looking at this available free agent list, Bill, what comes out at you? What is
I'm shocked that 4 or 5 of these people are still on this list. I'm shocked that Gary Sanchez hasn't been
who is the
signed. I'm
most
shocked.
shocking?
Yeah, I'm shocked that Gary Sanchez hasn't been signed. I'm shocked that Michael Waka hasn't been signed. That Josh Harrison hasn't been signed. Corey Knable, okay, that he's still got some petrol in that tank. The Zach Greinke one, I'm not shocked about, although he's still young enough where he can make it happen. And I think Gurriel would make an excellent addition to any team as a DH. He's 30, I think he's 39 years old. He'd make an excellent addition. So, yep.
100%. Um, I think my top three on here that I'm as surprised as you are. I agree, Josh Harrison. I am actually very shocked Josh Harrison is still on this list. I actually figured Josh Harrison would have gone at least. I figured he would have been signed before the new year. Greinke is still surprising just because of, as you mentioned, while he is getting close to the end of his career, he still does have enough in the tank to get
Yeah.
a good year or two out as a 3 or a 4 starter. Wrapping up a bullpen that is just looking for a little bit more tightness out of, or looking at a starting rotation, just needing a little more tightness out of the end of that rotation, looking for a little bit more stability. Putting him in that 3-4 spot. Greinke, that's where I'm looking at. And then, I'm actually stuck between Profar and Peralta because both of these guys are still, they're still, the fact that they're still out there. What is it? Peralta, he's 35, still playing at a high level. And then you got Profar, and Profar is what? Profar is 29. He's just hitting 30 this year. So you got a guy like Profar who's still out there that is right in the prime of his career, and the fact that he hasn't been picked up yet, to me, is a little shocking. So those are my 3 to 4.
Profar is a Machado casualty. So he and Machado got into it last year, and Machado's got a little bit more fan base than Profar. So everybody's looking at Profar as an attitude problem, when I would argue that the attitude problem is always going to be on Machado. But what do I know?
Machado,
I haven't talked to
yes.
either one of them, in the last week or two, so I don't know.
I keep declining their calls. They just like to bother me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
some reason, it's like they have an attachment issue.
yeah, yes.
But I agree with you. I think if you were to look at Machado's history compared to Profar's history, the fact that you're throwing the aggression on Profar is a little outlandish, in my opinion.
Yep. That's why I said he's a
But again, we turned down those offers. So
Yep, exactly. So what we got next on the docket? We're rolling now.
Next on the docket, again, we got spring training around the corner. And on top
the
of
World
that, we got
Baseball Classic.
World Baseball Classic. So, looking at ahead to spring training, again, folks, we are 23 days, 12 hours, 19 minutes, and approximately 45 seconds away. I've got the timer here. East Coast time, none of that West Coast Pacific Standard Time stuff that's out there. Going into spring training, Bill, I'm curious, what are some quick things you're excited to see coming into spring training?
I'm just excited to see baseball again. I'm excited to see baseball again, and in every spring training this year, it's even worse than last year because of the World Baseball Classic. I am very excited about spring training. I just hope nobody gets hurt. Like, you don't want people to get hurt during spring training. So stiff arms, bad backs, whatever, right? Blown out knees, anything like that. And we're going to do a podcast, Sam, and I'll make sure that you know when it is about the World Baseball Classic, because I've got some pretty strong opinions on it, which you and I
We've
have shared
talked.
offline before.
Okay.
And so we'll save that for the podcast.
Yes. I'm excited for both of these things. I understand. I know your feelings, but around have our podcast and talk about that at another time. Um, I my feeling is always my quick feeling on it is that even though it's in the Olympics, one of these should be for professionals and the other one should be for amateurs. Pick whichever one you want to be for whichever. But that's been my opinion. The other thing is that this event should happen off season. It should not happen at the start of the MLB season. It should be happening in the off season months, and it should be similar to a situation like MLB Pro, like an end that we're in the championships can't play, but every other team, their players have the opportunity to do so. My opinion, I'll leave it at that. We'll talk more when we do the podcast. Spring
Absolutely.
training. Oh boy, I am so excited for spring training. For Top Fan and Around the Diamond fans alike, I am a regular attendee of spring training. My father and I go down there every year prior to the pandemic and see it, and this is our first year back after the pandemic. So for a lot of fans and being around them fans alike that aren't aware, spring training is a great time to see a lot of these young players moving up within their respective organizations, to see them go from AAA to AA to single A, moving from one coast to the next. But also giving the regular players that warm up that they're going to need to get ready for the season. I think my biggest fear is as you mentioned, injury. This is the perfect time where you're going to see younger players trying to make a name for themselves and could be doing something to a veteran or a starter to try to move themselves up in the organization, but hurting a player that is going to play on opening day. So the one thing that you'll see a lot of starters not play until the middle to end of spring training. You will primarily see them maybe getting an inning and then going hitting the links, getting in there 18 or 36 holes of golf. You're going to see a lot of guys with off days, but yeah, I'm just excited. As you mentioned, baseball's back. The smell of fresh cut grass, the hitting of home runs, balls being pitched and just getting that ball to leather connection. It's exciting. I couldn't be more excited for this time of year.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
So, Bill, we've kept ourselves on point this time. I'm kind of shocked because normally at this point we're so far.
A 30-minute show and we're under 30 minutes so far. So let's wrap this thing up. Woo woo.
I mean, I don't really know if I want to. I kind of just want to keep having a conversation and just seeing how the day goes. No,
We
I'm just kidding. We
we
both
can
have
have that
plenty of.
conversation offline.
We can have that conversation offline.
Let's talk about what's coming up on the podcast.
But love to hear from the top fans and I just want to say I'd love to hear from the top fans and around the Diamond fans about what you're excited about going into these two events, spring training and World Baseball Classic. So please bring us those comments, put them on the Instagram post that we will have up today about this. Any questions or comments that you guys have, we will make sure we touch on them next week. Looking at this week's podcast schedule, though, this is a really exciting podcast schedule. Not only do I have the lucky opportunity to be on two of them,
Well,
which
you
rarely
got
happens nowadays.
you got to
The
show
whole
it to them.
lineup is great.
Yeah. So Monday, I'm going to give you guys a Bills corner on some stuff that's going on around the league. Just some stuff that's going on in Top Fan. Tuesday, we're going to drop rule changes, and there's actually 5 people on that, but that's fine. People drop off all the time. Wednesday, you have Jennifer and Nick. Jennifer was just on a podcast recently. Nick's been on podcasts before. They're huge Padres fans. They want to give me the business for not liking Manny Machado, so good for them. Sarah is a Red Sox fan. She's been on live. She's been on podcasts before. We've got a couple of things that we're going to talk about. And Friday's podcast is going to be a lot of fun because it's 2 generations of Giants fans and 2 generations of Mets fans. Both of the first generation ones grew up in or around New York. And so they'll be able to talk about what it was like when the Giants were in New York, what the Mets were like when they first started. And so I'm not going to steal that thunder because that's an amazing podcast that's going to happen. So, and we have 3 other podcasts that are already scheduled for the following week that are going to be so much fun, talking about letting the kids play. We're going to do a couple other ones. So I'm excited about that.
And there's some other fun things you have planned for
I do.
Top Fan in the next couple of weeks, right? I mean,
I do.
you gotta tell the audience about it.
Let's talk about this. Okay. So you guys and gals that are listening to this right now are listening to it in the locker room. You have locker room access. You need to let your friends know that they need to get locker room access because there's a number of reasons back there. But hey, let's talk about watch parties for a second. Top Fan Rivalry is going to do watch parties all throughout the country this year. Go on topfanrivalry.com. Look at the ones we've already posted for the dates. Venues are to follow, but look at the ones we've already posted for dates of which cities we posted them in, and then tell us that you're interested in wanting to go. We are going to provide some appetizers probably at these watch parties. We'll have the games on depending on where they are. Sam, we're going to do one in Philadelphia. Okay. So I wonder if you're going to be around for that. We'll do something when the whole idea is when the home team is out of town, right? When they have a rivalry game and they're out of town, I'm going to pick a spot. I'm going to go to it. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you're following the Top Fan Instagram account, first of all, if you're not following Grand Slam's account on Instagram, you need to be doing that. So make sure that you're doing that. But also, we have 5 days of the week, right? Now we have Merch Monday. Every Monday, I will be posting something that's new on the site about merchandise. Tuesday is Talk to Me Tuesday. Anybody that wants to be on a podcast, anybody that wants to write an article, let's talk about it. Reach out to me. Wednesday is Way Back Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm going to pick a top fan every week and get an old school picture of them and a couple sentences of what made them a fan. It's awesome. It's a great time. Thursday is Throwback Thursday, where we're going to do throwback jerseys and things like that. Friday is Free Shipping Friday. So, Sam, you've got a hat on there that looks very unique to me. Tell me about that hat. Oh.
So this hat is a black and orange Top Fan Rivalry hat. It can only be found on topfanrivalry.com. And by using the code GRANDSLAM in all caps, you will get 10% off that purchase. Not only that, you can then also use that same code and you can get 10% off your locker room access.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Like, this is crazy savings. If you missed the New Year's special, this is the next best thing. And
Yeah.
not only that, Bill has given me some inside things that eventually we're going to have even more hats in more colors. Am I speaking this
Yeah.
am I speaking this correct, Bill?
Not only are we going to have more hats, more colors, we are going to have rally towels. We are going to have koozies. We are going to have polos. We actually have polos in print right now that we're beta testing so that you guys don't spend your money getting a nice polo that says Top Fan Rivalry and you get it and you think, wow, this is junk. We've got plenty of things in the works, and use that discount code that Sam's talking about. We'll talk about them on Merch Monday and purchase them on Friday if you want. Free shipping Friday. We'll pay Top Fan Rivalry will pay the shipping. What better do you
So
need?
wait, so you're saying not only with the coupon code of Grand Slam in all caps, they can get 10% off, but they can also save on shipping
Yeah, we're gonna start. We've worked a deal out where we're gonna start
on
doing free
Friday,
shipping.
saying to the top end people,
Mhm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
top end, around the diamond, how could you not want to take advantage of these deals? Not only do you get to see Bills and my face every Saturday, which I'm sure is the highlight of your week, but you also get discounts on the great merchandise that Bill and the Top Fan family is working so hard to get you. So, it is an exciting time to be a part of Top Fan. It's only getting better. The things that Bill and I have talked about that are coming, all the tips. We can't give you all the secrets. We got to keep some stuff inside because we want to surprise you. But I strongly encourage you guys get to topfanrivalry.com. You check out everything that's going on. Bill, do you have any closing comments you'd like to give to the family?
Nope. Enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
Top fans, around the diamond fans, we thank you for your time this week. We will see you on the field and catch you next week.